The depths of the ocean hide some of the largest creatures on the planet. But what happens when these creatures come to the surface and reveal their true colossal nature? From the largest shark in existence to a mysterious giant squid, here are the 30 largest sea animals and creatures ever caught on camera. A wildlife expert visits the Mekong River in Thailand while working on a stingray conservation story and stumbles upon one of the most incredible creatures he's ever seen. The world's largest freshwater stingray ever seen.
She's a veterinarian, and she has this really remarkable study unraveling the mysteries of the largest species of freshwater fish on the planet. This is a
Not only does this behemoth belong to the largest species of freshwater fish, but it's the largest individual ever recorded. The female stingray is 14 feet long, 8 feet wide, and weighs over 800 pounds, making it a truly gigantic beast.
A tracking device so we know where she goes. But the best news about this stingray is we found out that she's pregnant. And that's great news for this species.
But that's not all. There's a reason why this particular stingray weighs so much, because after performing an ultrasound, the wildlife experts found it's actually pregnant, a true marvel of nature swimming deep in the murky waters of the Mekong. The Australian mangroves are not for the weak thanks to dense swamps and creatures you wouldn't even imagine in your wildest dreams. So when this guy decided to go deep and check out the wildlife, he was ready to find something spectacular, which is exactly what happened.
So we're just creeping up on this huge mud crab right here. All right, I'm gonna get around the back. That is one of the biggest mud crabs I have ever caught.
At first, he saw a mud crab's claws peeking out of the water. As he got closer, however, he realized this wasn't just an ordinary mud crab. It was one of the biggest crabs he'd ever seen. But despite the crab's aggressive nature, this guy was ready to risk it all.
Make sure that he doesn't get me. You wouldn't want to get tagged by one of those big claws. Take a look at that, mate. Big Aussie mud crab out here in the mangroves. Look at the size.
Speaking of tackling giant animals in swamps, this wildlife expert goes even one step further and jumps in the water to get up close and personal with a very dangerous beast, a giant alligator snapping turtle.
Oh yeah! If at first you don't catch it with the trap.
Found in North America, this is the largest freshwater turtle species in the region and is also one of the heaviest living freshwater turtles in the world. But while it may not be as aggressive as a common snapping turtle, it's still just as dangerous.
Just a few seconds longer, and the turtle will return to the bait, all the way underwater, and that is the only way.
The alligator snapping turtle got its name for a reason because, with a bite force exceeding 160 newtons, this big guy is strong enough to bite your finger off. So if this guy isn't careful, he's a goner.
Way that I have learned to catch snapping turtles. No nets, no traps, no problem. Oh, buddy, that is a good turtle right there.
We've seen humans wander into the wild and find some fascinating creatures. But what happens when nature fights back and decides to take over human property for itself? Well, that's exactly what's happening here.
Yeah. I don't think this boat owner likes sea lions anymore. Oh my gosh.
Most sea lions are already massive, but these two have got to be some of the biggest sea lions ever captured on camera. They're easily over 11 feet long and must weigh at least 2,500 pounds. In fact, they're so big, they're almost tipping the boat.
So close to sinking. If that thing eats 3 more salmon, it's done for.
The boat belongs to them now. The following footage comes from British Columbia, Canada, where a fishing enthusiast managed to capture one of the biggest sea creatures he'd ever seen, a sturgeon that was almost twice as big as he was. Sturgeons are ancient creatures, so much so that they haven't changed their appearance since the dinosaur era. And this might be one of the reasons for their massive sizes as well. This one in particular was 11 feet long and weighed over 650 pounds. Witness one of the rarest sightings in the world as a daring man notices a massive shadow underwater and decides to take a peek. What he finds, however, is unlike anything he's ever seen, because it's the biggest creature in existence. He sees a rare pygmy blue whale swim past him like it's nothing. Only slightly smaller than a regular blue whale, these behemoths can grow to an extraordinary 24 meters long and are among the largest creatures to ever exist. Despite their size, however, pygmy blue whales' diet consists only of tiny crustaceans like krill. Off the coast of British Columbia, Canada, in the depths of the North Pacific Ocean, lives a creature that's not only highly intelligent, but is also extremely dangerous thanks to its venom. And these divers manage to get close and film it with stunning detail. This is the giant Pacific octopus, a color-changing creature that's a master of disguise. What's impressive, however, is the fact that it can hide itself in plain sight despite its size. After all, this is the largest octopus species in existence. Stretched from tip to tip, a giant Pacific octopus's arms can grow as long as 13 feet, and a fully grown individual can weigh over 100 pounds. The following footage was taken off the east coast of Russia, where divers stumbled upon one of the most mesmerizing creatures in existence, a lion's mane jellyfish. While it may look ethereal, floating peacefully underwater, most people shouldn't get close to it because of its stinging cells. But that's not what makes the lion's mane jellyfish special, because, as is evident, it's one of the largest jelly species in the world. Growing as much as 7 feet long, the jellyfish is named after its mane of long, hair-like tentacles hanging from its bell. That's not all. Many people believe these are alien creatures living among us due to their bizarre appearance. In 2021, a man was riding his jet ski off the coast of Australia when he stumbled upon a creature that left him lost for words. But, while most people would have just recorded it from a distance, this man decided to grab it out of the water. It was a lobster, the biggest he'd ever seen. In fact, this bad boy was almost bigger than the man's torso, with legs stretching over 2 feet out. And judging by the striking green and yellow pattern on its spine, it was likely a tropical rock lobster. Speaking of people finding miracles in the wild, this man was driving his jet ski through a river in Florida when he noticed a large creature swimming near the surface. When he got closer, however, he realized this wasn't just some ordinary fish, it was a manatee.
What on earth is this? Oh my gosh. Somebody hit this manatee.
The manatee seemed to have injured its tail after hitting something, but despite the pain, the gentle giant continued to venture forward without showing any aggression toward the man. If anything, it swam closer to him.
He's coming right for me. Wow. Look at the size of him. What do you think, Bentley? Look at that.
The most important thing, however, was its sheer size. This one, for instance, was over 10 feet long and must have weighed more than 3,000 pounds. And since they're herbivores, it posed no threat to the man.
Big manatee. It's the biggest manatee I've ever seen.
In Texas, a man throws his lure into a river hoping to reel in some fish, but little does he know that he's about to reel in a true dinosaur.
Looks like the same fish.
A massive creature slowly creeps up to the lure and rattles it around with its mouth. But the battle is not over yet. The man has to make this stick and reel it in. And that's where things get tricky, because this might be his biggest catch yet.
Left a little bit, shift your left shoulder down just a little bit more. Yep, that'll turn her head. Keep that angle, keep that angle. Massive fish, guys.
This is an alligator gar, one of the largest living gar species in the world. Known for its torpedo-shaped body, this is a prehistoric predator. It can reach lengths of over 8 feet and weigh over 300 pounds.
Gar, 8 foot.
I would have touched on the way out.
And then just touch a little bit right here under.
In 2019, an expedition of scientists went deep into the ocean in search of a rare deep-sea shark, the blunt-nosed sixgill. And what they found exceeded their expectations.
Belly still I'm not gonna. Oh, wow. When she rolls over the. Oh, wow.
Also known as a cow shark, this ancient species predates most dinosaurs and is an apex predator in the deep-sea ecosystem, thriving at depths over 3,000 feet. And due to its sheer nature, this behemoth is also very aggressive.
Look at the width of that thing. This is a monster. She is huge.
Make no mistake, these are some of the biggest creatures in the ocean, growing nearly 20 feet in length and weighing over 1,500 pounds. And this particular beast was about to show these scientists why it's meant to be feared.
My goodness. That is amazing.
A team of researchers getting their submarine close to a dangerous shark is one thing, but this diver near Ecuador took things to a whole other level by getting up close and personal with the biggest species of shark in existence, the whale shark. The shark headed straight for the diver, yet he didn't move an inch, even touching it as it swam by, because despite their menacing appearance and incredible size, they're actually filter feeders and pose no danger to humans. There's a reason why they're called whale sharks, though, because at 18 meters, these monsters can grow to be longer than a school bus and can weigh as much as 75,000 pounds. So when they move, everyone notices. People are lined up at Panama City Beach to look at something they don't get to see often. A massive shark floating near the surface. This is a basking shark, a massive fish species second only to the whale shark. This particular beast, however, is perhaps bigger than most basking sharks in the ocean, so much so that it makes a 14-foot kayak look tiny in comparison. But things are getting intense on the pier as people call out to the kayaker passing through because the basking shark has just taken a sudden turn and now it's heading straight for him. In the middle of the river, a fisherman's lure catches onto something big, something he wasn't expecting. Reeling it in, however, is a whole different ballgame. This could be the biggest catch of his life, so he spends several minutes trying to carefully reel it in without breaking his line. And it's his lucky day because his patience has paid off, and he's caught an absolute monster. Catfish may not be the rarest creatures in the wild, but the size of this bad boy is beyond anything most fishermen can claim to have caught. In fact, coming in at over 2.5 meters, this is one of the biggest catfish you'll ever see. In 2018, a family was exploring the waters at White Beach, Philippines, when they spotted a strange object in the distance. What initially looked like a sea cucumber, however, turned into something much more exciting. They just stumbled upon a giant starfish hiding in the sand, and once they got close, this monster decided to dig its way out and reveal itself to them. It was massive, with 10 thick arms stretching out from its body, and despite still being a juvenile, it measured over 3 feet long. Out in the blue waters off the coast of British Columbia, Canada, a fisherman notices a curious creature slowly swimming up to his boat. But little does he know that he's actually about to encounter something massive.
Buddy the mola just following us and hanging around. He's so curious.
What seems like an ordinary fish at first glance quickly turns into a huge sunfish, one of the heaviest bony fish in the world. These amazing creatures have flat and circular bodies, growing up to be over 10 feet long.
Scratched himself on our halibut lines. Checked out the bait when we brought the bait up. See the mouth on it. Big mouth.
They're completely harmless though, as is evident by this big guy's curious behavior. But there's no catching these guys, at least not with a normal fishing rod, because they can weigh as much as 2,000 pounds.
And a funny fin. Double fin out the back. Little stubby tail.
Near coral reefs at depths up to 100 meters lurks one of the most bizarre fish on the planet, eating mollusks, crustaceans, and other small fish. This is the Napoleon fish. Given its name due to the hump on its head that resembles the French emperor's hat, this is the largest member of the Ross family, growing up to 2.5 meters long and weighing as much as 400 pounds. Going out to sea and catching fish is one thing, but these fishermen have just hit the gold mine because a massive sea creature has just wandered onto the dock by itself, ready to be caught by them. If they do this right, it'll be the biggest fish they'll ever catch on the dock. And it's not something you'd find swimming so close to the shore either, because this is a Goliath grouper, which is the largest grouper species in the Atlantic Ocean.
What? Guys, we're fishing from a dock. That thing's 300 pounds. Oh.
As evident by the name, these monsters can grow over 8 feet long and weigh up to 800 pounds, which means a single person reeling one in is virtually impossible. So if these guys want to catch it, they've got to be at the top of their game.
Oh my gosh! We just caught this thing right here! That's a Goliath grouper.
Here. The ocean is home to some truly strange creatures, but not many can come close to matching the bizarre nature of this monstrosity, the giant bumphead parrotfish. The man who found it during his night dive near Bali was left in awe as this rare fish with a hump on its head swam right in front of him. But that's not all. This was one of the biggest bumphead parrotfish ever caught on camera. The giant bumphead with its fused teeth and parrot-like beak is the largest species of parrotfish in existence, growing up to 1.5 meters and weighing as much as 165 pounds. After spending days going out on fishing trips, this man from Russia finally fulfilled his dream and reeled in the biggest fish he's ever caught.
Дорогая карпомания, наконец-то пришел тот момент.
Catching a carp may not seem like a special feat, but this guy has caught one that grew up to a size rarely seen in this species. After all, this beast is at least 3 feet long and must weigh over 10 kilograms.
Заработал. Вот он, такой чешуйчатый. 31,5 килограмм.
But the length may not even be the most impressive bit about this carp, because once he lifts it out of the water, the sheer width of the fish is extraordinary as well. Most people think of using a rod when they go fishing. Not this guy though. He decided to use a slingshot to catch fish. And not just any fish, he was about to hit the jackpot.
This ripped the slingshot out of my hands. Yeah. Is it on? Yeah, it's on. It's on.
His excitement was through the roof as he slowly reeled in his catch with the rope. And for good reason, because he was about to reel in the world's biggest snapper ever caught with a slingshot.
Does it get any more carnage than that? Nope, it doesn't. Yeah. Is it?
Snappers aren't exactly rare in the wild. However, this particular fish is at least 2 feet long and must weigh upwards of 5 kilograms, not to mention the fact that it was swimming deep, which makes the slingshot catch even more impressive.
The slingshot! That... Oh, look at the error, it's just wasted it.
The following footage comes from Florida, where some tourists on the docks are busy feeding tarpon fish. One of the kids, however, decides to dangle a fish in his jacket's arm, which, in hindsight, might have been a mistake. Tarpons can get aggressive if they're messed with, and the kid has no idea that there's a giant tarpon amongst them. So, with him leaning over and the monster lurking underneath, this is a recipe for disaster, and things may not end well. A kayaker in Pensacola, Florida, makes a bold decision and sets out to hand feed a shark. What he ends up finding, however, is perhaps even more incredible.
This.
He encounters a giant manta ray, a ray so big its wingspan can reach over 8 meters. Most people would have seen that close call and retreated, but not this guy. He was already out to feed a shark, so a giant ray doesn't faze him.
Is an absolute giant manta ray. No way!
He continues chasing the giant manta ray down, knowing it doesn't actually pose any danger to him, and after several minutes of kayaking, finally manages to capture the money shot.
Real. That is real.
Wow. That is real. In 2009, a couple was out on a fishing trip off the coast of Washington just to catch some salmon when they encountered one of the most mesmerizing sea creatures in existence.
There he goes. He's doing that propulsion thing they do. They are really very amazing. I'm just fascinated by them. Which makes it...
A giant Humboldt squid had just attached itself to their lure, and now they were going to reel it in for a closer look. Known for their changing colors and predatory instincts, these creatures are not to be trifled with.
Oh! You better be careful. You better be... He's... Babe, you know what? You better not bring him... Did you say?
The squid was already using jet propulsion as a defense mechanism, but the guy was determined to reel it in. After all, these creatures can grow up to be 2 meters long and weigh over 100 pounds.
This guy.
Babe, don't put your hands down there. I'm serious. Don't put your hands down there.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna fall out of the boat.
No, I've heard.
The following footage comes from India, where fishermen are about to reel in something they're not prepared for. They've caught a big wahoo fish, one of the fastest fish species in existence, which is why it's elusive even while attached to the hook. As they wrangle it out of the water, however, they realize this wahoo is much bigger than usual and is at least 5 feet in length. In the Philippines, divers go down to the seafloor for a strange mission because they're not actually trying to catch the clam with a bag. They're actually catching the eggs coming out of it. But this isn't any ordinary clam. This is a giant clam, which is the largest living bivalve mollusk in the ocean. Growing up to 4 feet in length and weighing nearly 500 pounds, these creatures are truly special and can live for 100 years. In Australia, tourists watch in awe as wildlife experts lure a giant saltwater crocodile out of the pond in its enclosure.
Really strange angle there. He's trying to push Zach against the wall. They're just so intelligent. Zach's a big guy, but always makes Zach look tiny.
People underestimate just how big these creatures actually are because, as the croc crawls out of the water, there doesn't seem to be an end to it. It's a modern-day monster. These guys know what they're doing because feeding a croc that can grow 20 feet long and weigh over 2,000 pounds is no child's play.
Wow! Oh, and a nice big burp at the end there. And I can't imagine you get a...
This fisherman has just caught one of the most elusive fish in existence, the sailfish, which can reach top speeds of 70 miles per hour, making it the fastest fish in the sea. This beast is a top predator in the ocean, yet the fisherman reels it in with ease. Getting it up, however, is another thing because this is one of the biggest sailfish he has ever caught. Speaking of fishermen stumbling upon rare creatures, this guy has somehow managed to reel in a horseshoe crab. Except it's unlike anything he's seen before.
Horseshoe crab. Look at that. Is that cool or what? Yeah, there's no way I'm pulling that into the boat. I mean, that thing is freaking huge. How am I going to get...
Horseshoe crabs are typically small, with most of them being around a foot long. This one, however, seems almost 2 feet in length, making it an absolute giant among its species.
Yeah.
Horseshoe crabs are living fossils, meaning they've existed unchanged for over 400 million years, and they're actually more closely related to spiders than crabs or lobsters.
This is ridiculous. Yeah, look at that thing. Yeah. Okay. I gotta stop recording because